welcome to the King of Iron Fist, Nina Williams.
After the King of Iron Fist Tournament 2, the Mishima Zaibatsu used Nina as a test subject for experimental cryogenics research. 15 years later, Nina was released from cryosleep to fight in the third tournament. She fought in the tournament while suffering from cryosleep-induced amnesia. Since then, Nina escaped from the reaches of the Mishima Zaibatsu and spent her days carrying out missions as a contract assassin. To this day, she has been unable to regain memories of Anna or her previous life. Without memories or anyone to rely on, the only thing she could do was to execute her contracts for money. One day, Nina accepted a contract from a mafia organization. The target of the contract was Steve Fox, a world boxing champion. Nina infiltrated the tournament and set her sights on her new target.
Well, that explained it all pretty well. It's interesting that a mafia organisation hired her to assassinate Steve, and the next we hear of the mafia is Nina assassinating a head guy in the mafia. Well, personally, I was pretty late to the party for Tekken 4. I didn't really experience the game until it was in the PlayStation Platinum range, and even then, my only memory of playing it at home was on a day when I was homesick from school. I liked the gritty aesthetic, but my friend circle wasn't into the game, and even while I didn't grasp the game very well, it felt harder to move and the changes were hard for me to grasp. My friends and I generally stuck to playing Tekken Tag Tournament, as there were more characters, cooperative options, and also Tekken Bowl, which was a nice change from the fighting modes. Somehow, even people that didn't really play Tekken knew that this game wasn't as well received as Tekken Tag. Also, somehow everyone knew about Jin's back forward 2-1-2 unblockable. I had friends that would mash buttons all day, except when they played Jin, and they would just do that into a juggle constantly. While we hear a lot of negatives about Tekken 4, nobody can deny that it took some ambitious steps forward for the franchise. The tone of the game felt different. They introduced walled stages, uneven ground, and environmental hazards. The properties of some core moves were changed, including movement itself, and the roster had some big surprises, such as a robot, a character who was purely boxing without any kicks, Kazuya returning, and Jin's playstyle being completely overhauled after an enlightening holiday to Brisbane, Australia. As for Nina in Tekken 4, her story has taken a bigger step in separating her from Anna, and we start to see a little more emotion from her, besides the cold, cruel nature shown before, though this is kinda undone later on. In terms of gameplay, this is the first game where it's unanimously agreed Nina is at least in the top 3 strongest characters alongside Jin and Steve, so she was a common sight in the competitive scene. Tekken 4 was released in 2001 at the arcades, and then throughout 2002 around the world on console. Because of the time of its release, it's actually not too hard to find frame data for the game, but we'd be here all day if I tried to list everything, so we're just going to talk about the key things for Nina. Once again, we see more improvements in the practice mode for Tekken 4, but there's still a lot that we can't do compared to future games. The move list is a lot more extensive, showing pretty much every move the character has, but not always showing all of the alternate inputs that there might be. You can see she's got 117 moves in her move list now. It's a lot more than any of the earlier Tekkens showed in their move list, even if she did have over 100 moves. Another cool feature introduced here are sample combos, and the ability to record your own combos. So let's look at some of the things they suggest. They're not the best, but at least they're a progression showing different difficulty of combos and giving you a launching platform to learn what to do. Get it? Launching platform. So, what's new? A few things, and they're pretty big. This is our introduction to Ivory Cutter, and it will never be this strong again. Insane range, +1 force crouch on block and +13 force crouch on hit. Though nothing's guaranteed, it would be absolutely broken. Oh wait, kinda is. Ray Hands is here as well. It's good, but doesn't have any counter hit properties at this stage. Check the pushback on hit though, and on block, so it can be used to bait whiffs, kinda like you would do in, like, Tekken 7. We have below the belt combo. I feel that the big deal here is that she now has a safe double dig jab. Spear kick is similar to in future titles, though normal hit and counter hit make no difference. Check the pushback on hit, and check how there's none on block. I'm showing the blonde bomb here to demonstrate that it does not combo. We've got Skull Splitter with a wacky input. It's an orbital that doesn't launch, not even on counter hit. So, yeah. This is the first time that we actually have snake shot cancels, the back sway and the forward sway being added. This is amazing for frame advantage and pressure. We also got double shot, though it's not a natural combo in this game. It's not really that useful. Spider Knee has two different inputs, either back forward 3 or while standing 3. And while the frame data on this doesn't look too impressive, there is a just frame of pressing 1+2 on hit to make it a command throw. But check out the pushback on back forward 3. It's insane. Throws were reworked in Tekken 4, but Nina got her reverse neck breaker and elbow to arm grab, both being a 2 break at this stage. Then she also got the position change as a 1 break, just like everybody else. And lastly, she got a new 10 hit combo variation. Down forward 3-2 now jails. It's absolutely insane when you consider the moveset that she has in this game. It's a 14 frame advancing move that leaves her at neutral on block even. The two inputs for Geyser Cannon now have some differences. The down back 3 seems to have a little bit more pushback, and it's much more safe. That truly is divine. Though it can't all be good. Down 4 is now a special mid, meaning she's lost one of her better lows in the game. We can finally do sidestep cancels into something, so you can now do a sidestep cancel into sidestep 2. Nothing else though. Helping Hand is now while standing back 1. And new throw input. Jab is still 8 frame. Not all characters have an 8 frame jab in this. The 3-3-2, 4-3-2, down forward 3-2, down 3-2 strings are all still -10 on block. Down 3-2 still has some issues with axis, but it seems a little bit better. Right backhand body blow is still the same. Very unsafe and only launches on clean hit. Counter hit doesn't affect anything here. Panther Claw still has enough advantage for a follow-up. Because of walls, sometimes you can get really good follow-ups. Lift shot sidestep 2 still doesn't launch unless it's on the side or on a counter hit, and it's -16, so very high risk for what it is. Sidestep 4 still isn't a counter hit launcher and is very unsafe. Tekken 4 also has a version of Tekken Force, though the incentive isn't really there. You don't unlock anything from playing it. I feel like while it's very fun and while it's been developed, having some kind of reward system like unlocking Dr. B really made it much more fun in Tekken 3. This feels harder, but it just feels like a rehash of the same thing, so I didn't find it too great. Tekken 4 is listed as having 23 characters, though it's a bit of a stretch as it is counting Lee and Violet, Christy and Eddie, Xiaoyu and Maharu, and Kuma and Panda, as well as Combot who is a mimic character. So really, we're seeing 18 characters. It's an interesting mix between characters from Tekken 2 and Tekken 3, as well as the new additions though. Unfortunately, it's said that the competitive scene was restricted to 3 characters: Jin, Steve, and Nina. I never competed in this game, so only really know second hand, but I hear it was sort of a rock paper scissors due to Jin's just frame laser scraper, Steve's 8 frame jab, and Nina's ivory cutter and Heihachi step. I'm sure there were more things at play in these matchups, but they're the main things I've heard many times. I'm not too familiar with them myself, but the wall interactions and the uneven ground can cause some very strong combos. If you look up tool assisted, you can even see some infinite combos that can be done with some characters in Tekken 4. "23 characters, 6 of them are female, and they had to give the G-string to the 75-year-old man." Seriously though, it's great to see Heihachi as a final boss, and I actually think wearing the Fudoshi is quite cool. We've gone from devils to fighting god ogres, and now we're back to human final bosses. I mean, I think Tekken 4 has tried to go with much more realistic feel to it, and Heihachi being the final boss is a nice call to that. I'm clearly not playing Nina optimally in this video. From what I understand, the main tools you would use would be her ivory cutter, 8-frame jab, down forward 3-2, and then Heihachi step to move better than any other character to either run with the life lead or to try and bait a whiff with your safe geyser cannon. Many people in the Tekken community call her geyser cannon Divine Cannon. This has never been an official name in the move list of course, but it's not uncommon for the community to give a move a slightly different name. But I like to believe that Divine Cannon is a reference to the stronger version of the move which came into existence in Tekken 4, then sadly perished in Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection. With down 4 being made a special mid, and with low parries becoming a universal tool, Nina's taking a lot more risk with her lows than previously. That being said, down 3, sidestep 4, and if you're brave, wipe the floor, can work to break your opponent down. With such strong mids like Ivory Cutter and an 8-frame jab, I suppose her lows are a weakness here. We've seen the introduction of some of Nina's most well-known moves, such as Ivory Cutter and her sidestep 1 snake shot cancels. This is perhaps the strongest and the best competitive presence she has had in a Tekken game too, but her strengths lie in a few aspects that are overtuned opposed to the diverse and fundamentally solid toolset that she is still developing. I once again need to praise this game for its effort in trying something new and helping set Tekken down a new path. I hope you've enjoyed my retrospective look at Tekken 4.
Freeze! Freeze! Look out!
Thanks.